Right, good God, let's eat! Yeah, so we're back. We're back in No Stars. It's been a hot minute, but we're here. And it's all about content today. And we have a special guest with us. This guy's got so much energy, I just don't know how he encapsulates and keeps it into his body. But first and foremost, let's pay the bills.
Don't forget to hit us up on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And when you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that notification button so you know when we upload our next video. And on that one, we'll pass it back to Hutch.
That being said, we have today a guy called American TJ.
American TJ.
American TJ. Now, American TJ is a great content creator from the UK. He knows about and specializes, should I say, in American sports. Mm-hmm. That's American football, that is basketball, that is baseball. This guy knows how to break it down granular and explain it to the UK, or should I say around the world.
Even down to the stadiums.
We have American TJ. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it. I very much appreciate it.
So, kicking this off, man, how did you decide to say, well, right, you're not going to create content in the UK. You decided to go across the Atlantic, to the States and create content about American sports. Why not British sports?
So, I tried. So, anyone that knows the American TJ cinematic universe will know about Foot Now. Foot Now was my first venture into sports content. Foot Now still runs. We still post, but I started with Foot Now, and we were doing pretty well. I was kind of posting edits. I was doing like breakdowns. I was talking about football, kind of in like the same energetic way that you see with American TJ, but like a bit more conservative because obviously British audience. So I was doing that.
Well, tell me about the British audience. What's the difference between the audiences? Why you say that?
British audiences, they tend to be a lot more. I want to put this in a way that doesn't offend a British audience because obviously appreciate British audience. British audience tends to be a bit more eyebrow raised when they see stuff. They tend to be a bit more. They ask questions, but they're also a bit more conservative. Americans, they just love energy. They love something that Americans want to be entertained, whereas Brits. You need to coerce them into being entertained. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And like you even look at like British television shows, like Britain's Got Talent, Ant and Dec, Love Island. It's not as energetic, but it's a bit more kind of tongue in cheek. Do you know what I mean? Americans, they love energy, but they just love being told that they're the best. And because I love American football. And because obviously I show that, and I love baseball, and I love all their sports. Americans, they tend to like a British person going, "This is really good."
Yeah.
I still obviously have like my drawbacks with like American sports and like some parts of American culture, but I feel like with Brits, because I am British, they see it as, oh, this guy's just making content. Whereas with Americans, they're like, this British dude, he loves us, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it's a lot more receptive. But like, yeah, going back to Foot Now, I did that. British audience, it wasn't as. I remember doing one video, and this is where like I properly clocked. I did one video, and it was me basically saying why women's football doesn't seem as good as men's football. And I was trying to break down the stigma of women's football's awful, they can't play, they're awful, whatever. And I made this video where I was like, it was banned for 50 years. If you ban any sport for 50 years and then you bring it back, probably a good chance they're not going to be quite good. Probably a good chance that they're going to need some time to kind of develop. And I tried to also do it from a point of a business where I was like, when Uber started, for example, they had to invest a lot of money into Uber. Whenever you start a venture, you need to invest so much money in it for it to be successful. If you don't, it might still be successful, but your chances aren't great. So obviously, a lot of things that people say with women's sports is, oh, they need to stop asking for all this money. They need to we need to stop investing in it. Blah blah blah. And it's like, well, as a business person, I'm going to put my brain on and think, well, half of the earth are women. Half of it's just a known fact that women aren't as invested into sports as possible. Imagine as a businessman seeing this customer base of 3.5 billion people and not trying to invest in that customer base. If you're able to tap in and in 10 years make women's sport a lot more accessible to women, obviously that's great for women's sport, but you're making money, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because you just tapped into a customer base that, do you know what I mean? Men like sports, women don't. That's the stigma. Get women to like sports, you're making profit.
Because women spend money.
They spend money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine women's obviously they women love to go shopping.
Exactly.
Now imagine a woman is like, I want to buy this football jersey.
Right.
150 quid. You're making all these sales. So I tried to make this argument and I was like, this is why all these millionaires and billionaires invest in women's football. This is why women's football is trying to pick up. This is why the women are also asking for equal pay. It's not because they think they're as good as the men. It's because they're saying, not gonna lie, you banned our sport for 50 years. We didn't have the opportunity to grow at the same level as you. So one thing that we're asking is for all those years where we weren't there, could we just get a little, do you know what I mean? Comments on that video? Whew. I got cooked. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's just boring. It's an awful sport. They need to stay in the kitchen, all this type of stuff. And that's when I realised, obviously, the Americans are the exact same. Like, you look at women's basketball, a lot of Americans, they have the same stigma with women's basketball. But when I talk about women's basketball, Americans don't talk about the fact, they don't hate me, they more will show their hate towards the sport. Whereas the British audience, when it came to football, I was just like, I love football discourse and I love football culture in this country, but I just don't think it's the place for me. Do you know what I mean? I would rather have American sports discourse because it's a lot more open. It tends to be a lot more friendly, and especially when you're having this discourse with Brits, it's like you know that feeling when you meet someone who's into American football, and it feels like you're in like a secret club. Do you know what I mean? That's what I preferred about it. So that's why I kind of moved on to American sports. I still talk about British sports. I still talk about football on my page and stuff like that. But when it comes to British sports discourse, I just want to talk about Aston Villa. I don't want to talk about all that other stuff. I just want to talk about Aston Villa. Yeah.
Right.
You got thick skin when you're talking like British sports because they're crucial. If you ain't got thick skin, anything they say, we just pull you down and just break your mental game.
Exactly that.
Where Americans, they don't tend to. They're talking about the sport and they're not trying to to downgrade you as a person. Yeah.
I think fans, I mean, my spin on this, I think fans will be fans, right? Regardless of where they are around the world. They are critics, right? And they have the platforms now to have a voice, to have an opinion, right? So I believe, regardless, I think this happens in the NBA, it happens in the NFL, that these players, they get bad reps. They do.
Yeah.
There might be a game, I don't know, let's say Denver. We'll talk about Denver. Bo Dix might have a bad game. I guarantee he's going to get slated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
He's going to get slated.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because the people that are showing their emotions are really, passionate about the game.
It's like radio stations.
Right.
I remember you watch all these films from the 80s and 90s and it's a sports film. And then they'll jump on the radio and they'll do these phone-ins. And these phone-ins will be 4 or 5 hours. And you get these people calling in. We've given everyone their own radio station.
Right.
Everyone's got an opinion. And everyone should have an opinion. But oh gosh, with the way algorithms work and with the way that the content that they push out, it's always the most controversial.
That's what they want though.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
And you find that a lot of these let's label them as 5%ers. Right? There's 5%ers in the NFL, 5%ers that in Power 5 D1 schools. Let's just keep it at that. The 5%ers are told, don't watch that, don't read into that. Just do you, because if you read into that, potentially mentally you could get cooked. If you get mentally cooked, you ain't producing on the field. If you ain't producing on the field, after a period of time, your career is done.
Cooked.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the same with content as well.
Yeah.
I always have to remember that when I'm making content, don't. People are always going to have an opinion. People are always going to have an opinion. And Deion Sanders, my hero.
Our hero, bro. That man's a baller, bro.
Absolute baller. This man, he did a speech once when he was head coach of Colorado.
Yeah.
And he was like, youngsters, don't care about people's opinions unless that opinion is consistent to the one that you have of yourself.
Right.
So whenever I read a comment now, it might hurt, but I'm like, that's not the opinion I have of myself.
That's not consistent to you.
And that's not consistent to me.
100%.
And now that's the filter.
Yeah.
I see something and I might get a bit annoyed at it. I might get a bit whatever. I made a video last week where I was rating the NFL have just done this collab where they're releasing all these jerseys in a football style, and I was rating them. I obviously come from, like, I've got a fashion brand. I come from that fashion background. If I'm rating shirts and jerseys, my opinion is probably not going to be the same as the regular football fan because do you know what I mean? Like, I've got a different fashion opinion.
Yeah, well, you've got the eye for it as well because
exactly.
you're in that industry, right?
Top comment, who let bro rate? Do you know what I mean? I just laughed at it. I just laughed at it because I was like, do you know what? I let myself rate, and this video got views, but I think if that was maybe a year ago, I would have got really, really down. I would have got really, really down.
But and that's what people's got to understand. Not everyone's gonna like you. You're not gonna get on with everyone. You know what I mean? And that's just people think you're supposed to get on with everyone, and everyone's supposed to like. It doesn't. The world doesn't work like that. You know what I mean?
A lot of content creators, they come into the game as well, and they think, "Oh, I need to be liked."
No.
Some of the biggest content creators in the world are hated, and that's why they're famous.
Exactly.
That's why people love them. Some of the best, like you look at Travis Kelce dating Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce is probably one of the most talked about American football players. I can guarantee you, unless you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you do not like Travis Kelce. But that's his thing. He's a villain. He's not liked.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people need to see the fact that like people are villains and people are made villains by the media because at the end of the day, they're talked about. And like, you know, a lot of content creators that come into it, so they go, I want to be a hero. But then they have villainistic opinions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like then people make content being like, oh, why don't people like my content? It's like, well, you're delivering an opinion that isn't quite popular. So you either stand on that opinion or you continue. I did quick story. I did a podcast called Armchair Gaffers for maybe a year. And anyone that knows Armchair Gaffers, it was me, a guy called Jesse Richards, a guy called Walks, the rapper Scorcher. Don't know if you know rapper Scorcher, and then another guy called SB. And that video, you know how they've turned off the dislike number on YouTube? If they turned that back on, we would have more dislikes than likes. And I remember when I got on there, Jess, the guy that ran it, he said to me, he was like, how do you take criticism? And I was like, okay. He was like, you need to take criticism incredibly well if you want to be on our podcast because you're going to get ripped to shreds. And if you read those comments, you take it to heart, we can't have you on the podcast.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because you're not going to come to the next episode truly saying what you feel. And he was like, the point of this podcast is I want you to deliver your opinions, and if they're controversial, even better.
It is what it is, yeah, for sure.
Uploaded the first video, top comment, who the hell let this Malteser on the show?
Good Lord.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I get it. You take that in your stride, and then you begin to understand opinions and content. And then it like if I didn't do that, I don't think I would have been able to do
Your
this.
back's gonna be like a turtle, bro. Or is it water off a duck's arse? Sorry, let the water just run off it, bro. That's how you have to.
Back like I like that saying. Actually, I might use that. Like turtle black. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to be strong in that sense.
You know what? Feedback is feedback, right? It may be positive or negative. Feedback is feedback. If you're getting like 100, a million views and I don't know, 50% of that is negative, 50% that's positive. Guess what? That's 1 million views,
Yeah,
man.
no doubt.
That's paying you.
No,
Do
yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's currency.
Right? Going back to Dion's filter, you move on.
You
Simple
move
as
on.
that.
Exactly that.
But I just want to change lanes slightly because I want to talk about you've got so much knowledge about American sports. We're going to touch it. We're going to lean into that to see where that came from. But playing the game. I mean, you talk about the game. Did you play the game? Talk to us about your physical involvement in the game and what does that story look like?
Yeah. So I started getting into American football when I was like 11 years old. And then when I was 16, so I played football, soccer.
Yeah.
I played that all throughout my childhood. I was pretty good. Had a couple trials. End of the day, I didn't take it seriously enough. I was just a bit like, I'd like, yeah. I looked at some of the footballers that I played with who are now like, playing non-league, Premier League, and I see why they got there, because they were just quicker, faster, and because like it was all because they were more dedicated to improving. Whereas I was like, I've got incredible technical ability. I can ping a ball 40 yards. I've got a lovely touch. I can skip past a few players. I'm gonna make it. You're not gonna make it doing that. You're not gonna make it doing that.
At least you're honest. Jesus.
I have to be honest. You need to be able to run for 90 minutes. I wasn't trying to do that. I was a 60-minute player. My coach would put me on. I'd get a couple assists. 65th minute. Coach, I'm tired, because I just wasn't taking the fitness part seriously. So when I was 16, my dad said to me, he was like, "Son, the dream's over. I'm not taking you to football anymore." Do you know what I mean? Like, he was like, "You should put your time into something else." My mum was like, "Great, you can start coming to church." I was like, let me try American football, because I'm not trying to go to church. Sorry, man. So then I remember my closest team at that time. So I lived in Hounslow at the time, but the London Warriors, they obviously played like Crystal Palace area, bit too far. Obviously needed to commute around London. Obviously London Blitz is Islington. So the closest team to me, because obviously Hounslow, you've got the train line, was the Farnham Knights. Now they're called the Rushmore Knights.
You could be, yeah.
They're called the Rushmore Knights.
Yeah.
But back then it was the Farnham Knights. And it was like a 40-minute train. So I was like, cool, let me go to a couple of... They were doing like these open summer training sessions. I was like, let me go to a couple of these. I went there, obviously did some games, had a bit of fun, bit of flag football. I was like, this is cool. And then I remember going to... They were like, oh, you should come to like one of like our adult training sessions just to watch whatever. I remember going there and just looking at these guys hitting each other, just like going at it, like just like the energy, the language, and I was like, this is so cool. This is amazing. And I was like, but I don't want to be a part of this. This is. I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to. And I'll honestly say it. I will very honestly say it.
Yeah.
I just realized there and then I'm not built for this sport.
Got it. Yeah.
Flag football, great. Like contact football, yeah. Because I know, because obviously me and my mates, we used to play in the park. I had like a good group of mates in school, and we all liked American football. There's like 4 of us, so we go play American football in the park with like a few of our other mates. And obviously, like as 15, 16-year-old kids, you're gonna play contact, aren't you?
Yeah.
And we play contact, and every time I get hit, I'd be like, oh yeah, like I got hit, whatever, that's fine. And I played rugby as well, and we were just talking about this. When you get hit playing rugby, it's like it's a controlled hit.
Correct.
You see them come in, you brace yourself,
Right.
and it's in the flow of the game. Rugby's an open sport. You only stop for a scrum or if it's like a throw-in or whatever. In American football, and I've said this in one of my videos, I have seen wide receivers catch a slant. And I've seen the linebacker just coming downfield, and I've just thought...
He can't see me.
Brother... But the receiver knows, and they brace themselves. But
of course, yeah.
That is a hit like no other, like no other. And I think when it comes to like grassroots contact football, I think one thing that I was also not too fond of is, do these guys know how to tackle properly? Do they know not to like do like drop tackles and stuff like that? Because it's one thing getting hit, but it's another thing getting hit by someone that doesn't actually know how to hit, because they might target you without even knowing that they're targeting you. They might think, I just need to get this guy down. So they might do something, do you know what I mean? Something dodgy. If I'm on a $60 million 5-year contract, fine. I'm not. I need to drive home. Do you know what I mean? So when I did those pros and cons, I was just like, yeah, this is not the sport for me. So I never got into it, but I would like to get into flag football. I've had a few teams reach out and be like, you know your stuff. Do you want to come to a training session? And I think for me, I'll go to a training session, but I just know that I'm about to turn 26, which for a lot of people they're going to be like, oh, you're 26, you're still young. I played a lot of football growing up. I had a lot of injuries.
Right.
As a 26-year-old, I've got the body of like a 37-year-old. Do you know what I mean? Like
Got it.
both
A lot of miles on the clock.
a lot of miles.
I hear
Both Achilles dodgy, both knees dodgy. So like, get into American football, and my girlfriend will say this to me. She's like, just remember, you're not 100%, and you're going into one of the most physically demanding sports ever. So that's my experience with American football. We might see what happens, but for now, yeah, I'm on the sidelines.
I hear you.
No,
Yeah.
that's a fair point though. To be fair, because like like you said, we was talking before we started. It's not built for everyone. You know, I came into sport for my reasons, and Hutch did it for his reason, and I knew what I was getting myself. Get myself into, and like you were saying, we put in the time. We went to the gym because that's what we wanted to do. We did the running. We did, you know what I mean? And that was part of the journey. But it's just the way you was telling the story, man. It's got me a stitches, right? It's like, nah, I'm just not built for this.
Nah, and I think a lot of like there's certain people that they will be built for that. I think uni ball is probably a lot more accessible because uni ball, it's a lot more people beginning. There's a lot more camaraderie in it. I've seen. So like I would have loved to play in uni, but yeah, when I was in uni, I was not trying to play sports. I was trying to get my degree and go. So like I do wish that part of me maybe played uni ball. Maybe I would have been a bit more acclimatized to it.
So you weren't thinking about no sandwich course, no? Just 3 years straight.
3 years straight. I went to uni. I was like,
Okay.
I went uni at Brighton, obviously London boy. Like London and Brighton are very close, 2 different cities.
Yeah.
I went to uni. I was like, cool. I'm going to go to uni. Going to do my degree, and leave. I didn't even like try to get into sports or anything like that. But I do know like a lot of uni players. Obviously, Bucks, who's like the company that does all the uni. They're doing like amazing stuff with British American football.
They're doing a great job. Great job.
But like maybe as a kicker, who knows? Maybe as a kicker.
Okay. Denver Broncos.
Yes.
Where does that come from? Denver Broncos. When I saw the Denver Broncos shirt and everything, I said,
We were talking about it last night. It was
I
like,
was thinking, what, 2000? That's the last time.
I'm like, Manning was the only.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
when he won the
where
Super
it was
Bowl.
good.
That's like 25 years ago. How does that correlate, man? Talk to us.
I wish I could give you guys like a really fun story. I was 11 years old. I put every single team into a random name selector. You know, like those things where you kind of push it and it will land on a random one.
Yeah.
Put all the teams into that. Denver Broncos came up. I guess I'm a Denver Broncos fan now. Did a bit of research. They just signed Peyton Manning at the time.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Okay.
I was like, okay, cool. This looks like a decent team. And then, I was a Denver Broncos fan. Originally, and no one knows this, I was a Green Bay Packers fan for about 2 weeks. When I first started watching American football, I was a massive Lil Wayne fan. Like, Lil Wayne is like my king. He was a Green Bay Packers fan, and he made a song called Green and Yellow, a remix of Wiz Khalifa's Back in the Day.
Yeah.
And I was like, if your favorite rapper makes a song about an American football team, you're probably going to go to that football team. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me.
Was Brett on? Brett was still there.
This was Aaron Rodgers' time.
Oh,
yeah.
so Brett was already okay.
And then I think I can't remember if they lost the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship, like literally within those 2 weeks. And I was like, I'm not trying to. I was 10 years old. I was like, I'm not trying to support a loser. So then I went and I put it in a random name generator. And thankfully I did that because the Green Bay Packers, they haven't won a Super Bowl since. Denver Broncos, we actually did win a Super Bowl in 2015. So yeah, like I have watched it. That was against Cam Newton and the Panthers.
Who's the quarterback?
Peyton Manning. So that was his last ever game, that Super Bowl, before he retired. Because by that point, he was falling apart. I don't think he could throw it like 50 yards at that point. But yeah, so like I saw that Super Bowl. Obviously, I don't know if you guys remember the Seahawks-Broncos Super Bowl in 2013, Legion of Boom Super Bowl. I think we lost 4.
Seahawks won that, didn't they?
Yeah.
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 Seahawks won that. I think 48-3. That was the score. And like,
You had the beast in the backfield, Bridget.
Yeah. You had Marshawn Lynch. Quarterback obviously Russell Wilson. But then that defense, you had Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman. Like it's why they called it the Legion of Boom. Like that was my first heartbreak as a kid, was watching the Denver Broncos. And it's worse when you're a British American football fan because you're staying up until 2:00
to watch it.
to watch your team get absolutely battered. And then obviously you have to go to school the next day. And there's guys that don't even watch American football coming up to me being like, ah, do you know what I mean? I'm like, guys, like, what are you talking about? But yeah, that's the Denver Broncos story.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was trying to work that one out because it's like me and Hat's like, Manning was the last player that was decent on there.
Yeah.
Like, he's young. How in the hell did he even come up with this?
Everyone's, do you know what? And like, I'm talking to all the British American football fans. Eagles, Giants, who else? 49ers. You always hear about these teams. And it's like, guys, like, let's give some love to like the Denver Broncos or the Arizona Cardinals. Do you know what I mean? Like, some of these teams were like, because when you get British American football fans, like, they'll always support the Eagles. They'll always support the 49ers. I'm trying to think who else there is. They'll always support the Ravens. Ravens is another big one. And you see why, because, like, you know, Lamar Jackson, 49ers, obviously, like, they had a pretty good team. Eagles, obviously, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. But I find that boring, man. I think you need to go for the Denver Broncos, the New Orleans Saints. I've never met a British New Orleans Saints fan. Do you know what I mean?
You'd be surprised because when we went to was it Sage last year?
Yeah.
There was hella English supporters.
There probably is, but I've like maybe my age group. I've never met them. We've got like there's like a bunch of us guys. We've got a group chat. I think there's about 70 of us.
Wow.
All Eagles, all 49ers, all Ravens. There's a couple of Chiefs guys in there, which is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Raiders as well. Raiders, I understand. I've got a friend who's a Raiders fan. I asked him why you support the Raiders. He was like, "Man, come on, LA, like that was the black team in the '90s." Do you know what I mean? And I was like, "Do you know what? That's fair." But
they haven't won nothing since '70s, isn't it?
87, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Denver Broncos is if the Raiders are a black team, the Denver Broncos is a pretty white team.
Yeah, for sure.
So, college football. A lot of your content is around college football and stadiums and stuff like that. How did you get to pick up all the knowledge? I mean, you live here, you don't live over there.
Yeah.
How did you get to pick up all the knowledge about, you know, the collegiate space?
Two words: Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt is a American analyst and commentator who just talks college football.
Right.
As you know, the Denver Broncos, after our Super Bowl in 2015, we weren't very good. I still wanted to watch American football, but I was like, I don't really want to wait all week to watch Trevor Siemian play quarterback. So I started watching this Joel Klatt guy. Well, I'll take it back. I don't know if you know Colin Coherd. So he's got his own show called The Herd, and it's one of these, you know, it's proper American shows where they've got the massive studios, 7 a.m. and it's like, welcome guys to the Colin Coherd show. Today we're going to be talking about this, and this. And Colin Coherd, his opinions are very controversial. A lot of them very wrong. He's predicted stuff like LeBron James having one more good year, all the way back in 2017. 2025, LeBron James is still balling, right? So he's very controversial. But one day, I watched all of his like NFL content, and one day he brings on this guy called Joel Klatt, and he's like, right, let's talk about college football. And obviously, I'd known about college football at this point, but I was like, I don't have the mental capacity to whatever. And Joel Klatt starts talking about college football. And just the way that he talked about it, I was like, this is British football. This isn't NFL. This isn't glitz, glam, big lights, fireworks. Obviously back then, now it's different. £1 million players with bust down chains and bright watches. This is British football, like, and it felt very grassroots. So then I started watching Joel Klatt, and I started watching his show, and then over the years, I just got completely immersed to the point now. I will always say college football is much better than the NFL. Much better than the NFL. NFL is still great, but college football, it is so close to what British sports is because it's homegrown, it's grassroots. If you support a college university, you either went there or you're from the area. Right. Those are the only two reasons. Yeah. In America, you've got people living in New York that are like, oh, I'm a Rams fan. Do you know what I mean? Whereas with college football, why'd you support Oregon? Oh, I went to University of Oregon. Why'd you support Texas A&M? Oh, I live near College Station.
You tend to find Americans that in their family tree, they all only go to the one school.
That one university. And then that resonates within the media, within the commentary, within the players, everything like that, to the point where NFL players are obviously dedicated, but the hunger that some of these college kids have, because it's like
definitely
they have to be on campus the next day. Do you know what I mean? Like they've got teachers, lecturers, friends, all that type of thing. So I got into college sports, and then I'm a massive nerd. If I like something, I need to know everything about it. So I started looking at stadiums. I started looking at the culture. I love history. I love geography. I love kind of like that whole side of like the world. And that's when I started looking at kind of like you know, the question, why college football? Why is college football like this? And then I started like getting into that. And with the NFL, it's great, but the NFL is only what, 60 years old, if we're being nice. People say, oh well, American football started in the 1910s. It wasn't organised. American football, like, it's only 1960s. College football...
That's when the AFC and NFL... The AFC and the NFC came together early 1960s.
And made the NFL, right?
Yeah.
College football's been going since the 1890s. Like, Harvard, Yale, these guys have been playing each other.
way back in the day.
Way back in the day. And so when I look at college football, it's just a lot more raw. It's a lot more accessible. But it's also just it's so much more fun. NFL, between us three, we could probably guess who's going to win the Super Bowl next year.
Right.
Probably. College football.
You got Scoopies.
Who had the best recruiting class? Which coach has left? Which obviously, like, you know, you could say Ohio State might win it, Texas might win it, but you never really know. And because these guys are only playing 12, 13 games a season as opposed to 17, the stakes are high. The stakes are so high, especially when there was a 4-team playoff, when only 4 teams got into the playoffs. If Alabama went and played Florida on the road, Alabama are a 2 times better team than Florida, but you're going into the swamp. You've got their students now, and if you lose this game, you're out of the playoffs. NFL, we lost. It's fine. What do we need to do to get into the wild card? If we get into the wild card, maybe we can have a playoff run. College football, none of that. It's slightly changing now. They're letting a lot more teams into the playoff. I think it's now a 12-team playoff, and they're talking about putting it up to 16. But college football was just like a lot more raw. And yeah, just like the emotion, like it's beautiful. It's a beautiful sport.
Right. Okay. So that kind of takes me to another thing that has actually rocked college football in 2021. Something called name, image, and likeness. Yeah. AKA NILs. Yeah. Came into play, and that has shook up college football with regards to, you know, from operationally on the field, with regards to players having more power, because they can now pretty much promote themselves to get paid. And there are players today that are making millions. Yeah. You know, going into their final year. And that has so many different spin-offs now, because a lot, you know, pre-2020, so let's say pre-COVID, a lot of these players were playing to get into the NFL to make big money. Yeah, to make big money, set themselves up from a young age, maybe up to the age of 30, and then carry on their career. Now they can do that in college. Break down Nils to us, bro.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a strange one. I'm in 2 minds. I've got the mind where I think like a player, and I think like a player's mother, and I've got the side where I think like a fan, and I think like an audience. NIL has made college sports... You know what I was just talking about, how like the rawness and like the commitment that players have to their schools. That's going, because now what you get is you get a high school player. He'll be courted by 20 schools. He's not thinking, I'm going to choose a school that I'm going to play 5 years at. He's thinking, I'm going to choose a school that's going to pay me the most in my first year, unless he's got really, really good people around him, or unless his family are already rich, so that they don't need to leverage the financial side of it. Think Arch Manning, quarterback coming through at Texas, nephew of Peyton Manning, nephew of Eli Manning, son of...
What's my dad's name?
It's the third Manning, the one that never made it to the NFL, the one that apparently was the best, but had an injury in college. So he's his son, obviously grandson of the Arch Manning from like the 70s. He had offers from a bunch of different schools, but he went to Texas... and he went to Texas on the basis of, I want to sit for 2 years and learn, and then I want to come into a really a good situation. Obviously, he can do that because he's got the finances behind him. Yeah. Now you think of a kid from Birmingham, Alabama,
Yeah, that has no money.
single mum.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's been playing football all his life. Oregon come in and Oregon go, we can give you the best route to the NFL. You're not going to play for your first 2 years. We'll redshirt you your first year. Second year, we might play you 20, 30% of the snaps. Then your third and fourth year, that's when we'll get you in. Or, let's see, Texas A&M come in. Texas A&M go, yeah, some really hot girls on campus. We're going to pay you $3 million a year. And there's some really hot girls on campus.
Right.
And then they go, oh, what about my playing time? And they go, did you not hear me? I'm going to pay you $3 million a year. A lot of players are going to go, Mum, I think I'm going to take the money now. Because they know that, especially with NIL and now the transfer portal, because both of those things leverage each other, they know that if I go to Texas A&M for my first year and I don't like it there, or they're not playing me, I've already got the money. Let me transfer. Because then when I transfer, I can then ask for more money from a transfer school. So, because of this, you don't really see, like, I can't remember the last player that played 4 years at
Yeah, I've noticed that.
one institution.
And one institution.
I think Arch Manning, again, like, no coincidence, Arch Manning will probably be one of the only ones that played 4 years at one institution. So, it's taking away that kind of, like, rawness and kind of, like, loyalty that's within the sport. But it's giving players a lot more leverage.
Okay.
This is the issue. We went from one extreme to the other. We went from, you're not getting paid, you're going to stay here, you're one of our players, we don't care if we've got 4 centres, you're going to be the 5th.
Right.
And if you want to be the first, you're going to have to work for it.
Fight for it.
To now, I want to be the starting centre. If you're not going to make me the starting centre, I want you to pay me like the starting centre. If you can't do one of those two things, I've got a really nice offer from Utah State, who fair enough aren't as good as you, but they're going to pay me the big bucks.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And you see that. And you see it kind of going through the sport. And like, it's to a point now where like, you get like these schools where it's like, Ohio State, for example. If Ohio State, if they're not feeling their running back situation, they'll be like, it's fine, we'll go into a transfer portal. Oh, SMU, they've got a really nice running back. We might even go to FCS. We might say, right, Nevada have got, not Nevada, Sacramento State. They've got a really nice running back, and he's FCS, so we can bring him up to FBS. It's just little things like this that is slightly changing the sport, and it's making it a bit less. You can't be as connected to players.
Yeah.
However, on the other side, as like obviously a young black man, seeing other young black men get the leverage and get the opportunity to earn that money, especially when I can't remember who said it. Running back from the Saints in like the 2000s, I always forget his name. But he said when he was at college, he was like, so you're not going to pay me, but then I walk into our college store and you're selling jerseys with my name on the back.
Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush. Yeah, Reggie Bush.
I was trying to think of that.
Yeah, and like they're now paying him in hindsight because they're like, we accept that we made a mistake, etc., etc.
There's so many spin-offs of this because you're talking about it from the player perspective, right? And having the opportunity to make some serious money, right? What is that doing to the influx of quality players going into the draft from here on in? Is it now going to start filter out a little bit now because these players now know they can make big money at college? They don't necessarily. If their mindset, if their game plan was to say, right, I'm going to go to Power 5 school, go to for 3 or 4 years, make 15, 20 million, and then split, they now know they can do that at university level, at Power 5 level. What's the need for me to go to the NFL? What impact does that have on the NFL? That's one thing. That's one area I look at, right?
Yeah.
Another area I look at is the control of the coaches. You've taken a lot of the control away from coaches.
Yeah.
Players can say, if I'm some top running back now, and I don't know, I'm or Southern Methodist or whatever, right? And I'm balling. Southern Methodist ain't paying me nothing, and Texas A&M are knocking on my door, and they're telling me they're going to be 3-4 mil in my senior year. I'm going.
Yeah.
Regardless of what my coaches are saying, I'm going. Do you know what I mean? So the control the schools and the coaches have on the field, that's starting to dilute. I'm sure that's starting to dilute.
It's diminishing.
Nick Saban. One of the reasons. Have you ever heard what Nick Saban says about NILs? that's one of the reasons why he walked.
Yeah.
What I do want to talk to, sorry, what I do want to ask as well is endorsements. So now, apart from the school, you're saying the schools are paying the students, right? Is that what you're saying?
So that's actually just coming this year. Revenue sharing. Schools have to share part of the revenue with their athletes.
Right. So prior to that, it was just endorsements.
It's just endorsements. But as a lot of college football fans will know, endorsements.
It used to happen anyway.
The college is setting up your endorsements.
Yeah.
They're just putting in an artificial middleman. The college, let's say for example, the college, they've got a donor who's the CFO of Sprite. Hi, we're gonna give you Sprite the money. Can you now put Sprite as an endorsement for this young athlete? So on paper, the athlete's got an NIL offer from Sprite, but really the college has just paid for Sprite to pay the athlete. But this is the thing, NIL has been happening for decades. It was just all.
You're right.
It was just all under the table.
Yeah.
You look at Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
This guy was out partying every night. This guy was, chilling with LeBron James. He was buying bottles. He was driving fast cars. You're telling me that kid isn't earning any money?
Listen, I can tell you players that we were playing with back in the mid-90s, right, noughties, that were telling us,
Boosters
alumni,
gave them this.
alumni
Gave them
giving
this.
the boosters, giving them money.
Yeah.
Alumni, yeah. After every game, we've got to players say, well done, give them a handshake, give them an envelope sort of thing. And, yeah.
Hey, and
So, I mean, I think it's on a completely different level now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're saying, because back in the day, you couldn't just transfer like that. If you transfer, you'd lose a year playing.
Okay.
it was really difficult. You had to.
So it seemed like it's throwing everything out the window now because you could transfer, like you say, no one finishes their career at the school that they started at. They're just transferring left, right, and centre. Where before, if you did that, you'd have to sit out a year. So it's
It's commitments as well.
Yeah.
You get a player. January, I've committed to Florida State University. February, I've flipped my commitment from Florida State University to Syracuse. April, I've flipped my commitment from Syracuse to Las Vegas. June, I'm going back to Florida State University, and it's
crazy.
It's messy. That's what I think as sports fans, we just want to understand as much as we can. And when you've got players that are just flipping commitments, they're going into a transfer portal. It's just it does ruin the sport from a fan perspective. However, I completely understand it from a player perspective.
Because we got a pretty good idea how much work and effort goes into actually playing the game and actually playing at that level. And so what I did was in one of my WhatsApp groups, I sent a link, right, to a player, right? This is a backup wide receiver. This isn't a starting wide receiver now. Backup wide receiver who's played 14 games. Yeah, he got just under 100,000.
No, it was over 100.
Just over 100,000 right? Collectively for that year.
And he wasn't even a starter.
This is guy as a backup wide receiver. Now, let's not get it twisted. Now he might have raw skills. You know what I'm saying? But that is the reality of.
And he was happy, bro.
NIL today. Yeah, and he was well happy. Of course,
he was happy, bro.
That's the reality of it. The guy's made 100,000.
This is something that a lot of British athletes need to understand as well.
Yeah.
And talking to British athletes, if you're a footballer, if you're a rugby player, even better if you're a rugby player, if you play any type of high intensity sports and you're in shape and you're under the age of 18, under the age of 16, even better, go play American football.
Great shout.
Go play American football.
You see he's talking into the camera.
Yeah, I'm talking to the camera. Go play American football. Try it out. If it's not for you, it's not for you. The thing with American football is all of these universities, they fight each other on catchment areas. Oregon tried to take recruits from California. California tried to, and obviously, you got the California schools like USC. They tried to take the schools from Nevada. Europe is uncharted territory, and all of these college recruiters are starting to realize they're like, these players, they aren't as polished, but there are some athletes here. Luke Francis, I was telling you about, 18-year-old kid. He's 6'6", 300 pounds, and he runs a 40-yard dash in About 5 seconds. I'll give it a guess. He's just signed last week to Florida State University.
All right.
He had an offer from Syracuse. He went and met Coach Brown up at Syracuse. They were on the verge of getting into the playoffs. Now going to FSU. Obviously, FSU have had a bad season, but the year before, FSU were about to get into the 4-team playoff. They were actually ranked the 5th best team in the whole of the country.
Right.
This kid Luke Francis, he's gone there. You get so many people from the UK, France, Germany, just pure breed athletes.
Yeah,
And I need to understand that in America, that's what they want. Because they will teach you. It's not like football over here where, like, because of football, like, you're playing with your feet. Like, you need to, like, if you haven't been playing football since the age of 5 years old, you're not making it pro.
Yeah.
You're just not. It doesn't matter how fast you run. I've seen some absolute pure breed athletes who have gone, I'm going to start playing football. They don't even start for their Sunday league teams because they just can't kick a ball correctly. American football, if you're a pure breed athlete, if you're big, if you're strong, these are things that you just can't teach. They'll teach you. Do you know what I mean?
They'll find a position for you.
This is something that we talk about, speaking to the British audience here about those guys between that catchment age of like 16 to 18. There's so many roadmen out there that have got these athletic skills but don't know that these opportunities are out there. I was telling you on the phone about, leveraging your athletic ability to enhance your academic aspirations.
Yep.
That pathway, if the parents knew about that, they'd be pushing these kids down this road. Plus with NIL as well, being a European player, playing in a foreign country, I would assume they would get, because they're ambassadors from their country playing in a college, they will get a lot of following. And then the NIL should...
Jesus, please.
Do you feel me?
No, I do, because I'm jumping on that now.
Should just help fund that player and his family, etc., to the point where I don't need to go to the NFL. Why? I just made my millions at college.
Yep. And that you said it perfectly. Leveraging your athletic ability for your academic whatever.
Yeah.
Because in the UK, you can't. I mean, they'll try and tell you. They'll say, "Oh, of course you can go to university whilst being a professional footballer." No chance. There's too much. You need to dedicate too much time to university to becoming a professional footballer. In America, obviously, I've never played in college football. I don't know how much time these kids are dedicating to their academic studies. But you see kids like Travis Hunter. He was like a straight A student, so it can be done. In America, and like this is like why I wonder why not as many kids go and do it. They're going to give you a free education, college education, and one thing about these American schools, it's expensive to go there. There's a reason for that,
especially D1 school.
Like some of these D1 schools, they'll pay you to go there. They'll pay for your education, and then on top of that, they will pay you. And all you need to do is play sports, something that you already love doing, something that you'll do here for free anyway. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So you can go and do that, and you don't even need to go D1. You can go D2. These guys might say, we'll pay you 15 grand a year. 15 grand a year. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's not
as a student.
As a student, it's not loads, but like if you're, let's say, like for example, like you're getting a bursary, or like they're paying for your accommodation, and then you're getting 15 grand a year. Put it in a savings account, put it in a high interest account. You do 4 years there, you come out the other side with 60 grand
at least.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like that's D2, D3. You might go to D1. You can play FCS.
Right.
You can go to Oregon, not Oregon. You can go to Portland State University. They might say, we're going to pay you 30K a year. 4 years, we'll give you a scholarship. Do you know what I mean? Like the worst that they'll do is they'll say, well, you're not good enough, so we're going to cut you from the team, but we've promised you a scholarship and promised you this money. So you're good. Do you know what I mean? Like that's literally the worst that can happen.
As well, this is a real niche market at the moment, but with NIL as well, there actually have been NIL lawyers now that are actually positioning themselves to parents to help those parents understand what NIL potentially can bring for their child.
Yeah.
It's
crucial,
really getting huge.
bro.
Yeah.
Because you think,
really
when I went by my Jones,
different
had to fund it myself.
Different time, man.
You know what I'm saying? If that was around when I was going, Jesus, please, I was like on 1 meal a day, bro, because I'm paying for myself to go to school because I wanted to play this game so bad. And now there's this opportunity for you to get this little funding.
If I when I was going to like Farnham Nights, whatever, if I knew that this was on the other side, I would have taken those hits. I would have taken if I knew that there was money in this. I promise you guys, you'd see me
There
playing.
was always money in it though.
Yeah,
Like you said, it was underneath the table.
do you know what I mean? And like it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I promise you, I'd be playing linebacker for some D3 school right now. Do you know what I mean? I would have tried. I would have done it
for sure. Yeah, because you understand the opportunities and what potentially is on the other side.
Exactly.
You know, I think we've all got our versions of this.
For sure.
You know, I had an opportunity to go to Florida State University, man.
Yeah.
And guess what?
hang
If NIL was around, back then it would have been a no-brainer, absolutely no-brainer.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
And that's the thing. Like things happen. We all look back and we go, oh, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
Of course we do.
There's no such thing as a wrong decision because you have
that
to.
was your path.
But I will say to youngsters, if you can get into American football, do it because it's going to take one. There's going to be one kid. It might be Luke Francis. I'm hoping it's Luke Francis.
Yeah.
There's going to be one kid who goes to America. We're all going to see him with his expensive watches, expensive cars, and a lot of 14 and 15-year-old kids who are athletic. They're going to go. They're going to drop that soccer ball, and they're going to go. Yeah, I'm trying to play American football.
I've seen a lot of rugby players now leaning into American football as well.
Because as a rugby player,
this is to me. I mean, the way I look at it, from my opinion, right, the difference between American football and rugby is rugby. It's an endurance game, man. The clock just doesn't really stop, and you just constantly keep running. A lot of control hits, etc. American football is a lot of stop, start. Way more explosiveness on the field, etc. And that's the difference. However, rugby players, man, doesn't matter if you're attacking or if you're defending. They all can tackle.
Yeah. Ooh.
They all can tackle.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So straight away, you stand a really good chance of making a team to do special teams.
And
because you can tackle, right?
Yeah. And you got that lateral ability as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can go east to west.
Yeah, and so you're definitely starting to see. And if rugby players, if you're out there and you're watching this, think about American football, man. Think about making that quick money because there's nothing wrong with it. You know, your athletic ability, your athletic window, as I'm sure you know,
gets smaller and smaller.
Gets smaller and smaller as you get older. It's only about 15, 20 years, if that. So
what's the lifespan of a rugby player?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it late 30s or before that?
When they start falling off, or
yeah,
I'd probably say like 30s, early 30s, mid 30s. I think a lot of rugby players from the top level, that's when they start retiring. Like as they get to like 30, like mid 30s.
So when they start playing pro, what's the length of their career? Are we talking about 15 years? Talking about 10 to 12?
I'd say about 10 to 15 years for rugby players. Yeah, right. It's probably about the same as football. And it's not because like they can't play anymore. It's just because you're coming up against 22, 23-year-old kids who, do you know what I mean? Like they're going to be able to just run faster than you, probably like maybe hit faster than you as well. But yeah, like just echoing like what you're saying. Like if you're a British athlete, rugby player especially, just give it a go. There's so many avenues that you can go into. I've even known soccer players who have gone to America and they've been like, do you know what?
Yeah,
I'm in an academy over here, but this random university is offering me a scholarship. I might as well give it a go.
Yeah,
I might as well get a free education. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the kicking game's changed completely. The amount of 50-yarders people pounding through now.
Yeah,
that was unheard. That weren't even happening back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kickers are getting good.
Yeah, of course they're getting way better. I want to switch lanes quickly if you don't mind. Me and Hutch have been like watching your content, and like I said, the energy that you've got on your content. How do you come up with the ideas for it? You was talking off. We was talking offline earlier about it, and you were saying that is you find that's the difference between you and other content creators. You create first before you do your videos. So
yeah, I think it's like I've always tried to make content that I wish had existed when I was like watching content, even like not even a few years ago, but even now, like I would like to make content that I just think doesn't exist, and I think it's it's like a very special place to be in because Brits and Americans, we speak the same language. Australians too, but we'll leave Australia for a second. But like we speak the same language. Our cultures cross over so much, but like there still feels like such a divide when it comes to sports. And obviously, a lot of Americans watch the Premier League, a lot of Brits watch American football, but we don't have like. I feel like we don't have some people like myself. Do you know what I mean? You've got really good creators, like we'll talk about George on Sports. You've got really good creators, my friend Mo Sadded Sports as well. They do slightly different content where I think George and Mo, they more react to what's happening now.
Yeah.
Whereas I look at the more cultural perspective of it.
Right.
And I try and, obviously I love sports. I can talk about American football all day. I could go through schemes. I could, if I wanted to, I could go do a video where I'm like, right, let's have a look at the Seahawks defensive scheme in their game this weekend. I don't want to do that. I don't think there's a space for me to do that.
Right.
People are already doing that. I don't find that entertaining because I'm not saying that Brits aren't as good as it, but if I want to watch analytical breakdown, or if I want to watch power ranking, or if I want to hear someone tell me about what's happening now, I can go to hundreds of thousands of Americans that are going to tell me that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They already do that.
Right.
What Americans can't do is they can't take their sport from an outside perspective and tell it back to themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with all of my content, and I think this is why Americans are very receptive to it, I clearly know about what I'm talking about, but I'm delivering it in a way that is outside to what they've ever heard before.
Yeah.
So like, I did a video about baseball stadiums and why they're shaped in that way.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And Americans know why, but they don't know why from a British perspective. Because they can get told by an American, this is why they're shaped like that. But I can be like, well, it's really strange, isn't it? Because when we build stadiums in the UK or anywhere else in the world, you don't go, oh, well, we're going to build we're going to build the field in the shape of the road. You just find space.
Yeah.
But at baseball, they were like, we don't have enough space, so let's just like make every field a different size. So when it comes to content, when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, let me make something that people aren't talking about, but also let me add a cultural perspective where people are able to learn more about something that they really probably didn't even know about because they're just getting it from a different kind of source. There's that kind of stuff, and then I also do like kind of like the more fun type of stuff where like, I'm ranking stadiums. That one again. That's just very simple. Americans want to see a British person look at their stuff from an outside perspective. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They find it fun. They find it interesting. And it's a cool thing to do. And also, I think because I grew up on like... I still love British hip-hop and British culture, but I grew up heavily on American hip-hop, heavily on American culture.
We all did, to be fair.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's what they do so well. They sell their culture so well. And as a kid, I definitely ate that up. But like, a lot of my friends are American. They're either in the game right now or they're coaching. So I'm like incredibly, if I do say so myself, I'm incredibly tapped in to what's going on over there.
Right.
And I can kind of take that energy and I can take that kind of formula, but just do it through a British person,
Right.
which I think is, if I do say so myself, very unique because Americans are Americans and Brits are Brits. Unless you're like someone who literally has got a British mother and an American father, you're not really going to have that amalgamation. And I have a lot of people say it to me. They go, "You've got a British accent, but you talk American. Your content's American. What you think is American." I had someone saying to me, "The way that you break down schemes is American." And I'm like, well, because the people that I've seen break down schemes are American.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to break down schemes like Sir Alex Ferguson, am I? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't. So I think that's where like my content kind of like comes from, like what I try to do.
Yeah, like that.
I get it. I mean, I was in New York for Christmas last year, and it's content that you haven't actually seen, actually. But I was walking around with a camera, and I asked maybe a survey of about 4 or 5 people about American football. And I asked them, I said, do you realise that we play American football in the US, in the UK? They're like, no, you play American football in the UK? I said, yeah, we do, blah, blah, blah. I carried on talking. I said, I used to play professional American football as an English guy. Really? I said, where did you play? How did you? And it is such a light bulb moment for them thinking, we never knew they played outside these 50 states. And this is just in New York.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It's,
think though as well. A lot of people they don't even leave the US.
yeah.
That's I've had some hilarious DMs from Americans.
Yeah.
Some hilarious DMs. I've had voice notes from like some of the most. You know when we think about America as like as a what do you call it as a caricature. I've had some Americans being like, "Oh my God, man! I didn't know that you guys do this." And they're like,
Yeah.
He's like, "I want to bring you to a game. I want to invite you to my family." They're
Yeah.
like, we think it's so cool." And I'm just like, "Oh, you guys really don't like leave your bubble of America.
don't,
Like
yeah.
you like and like they see Brits as Daniel Craig, Tom Holland. They see Brits as actors. Do you know what I mean? Idris Elba. They don't think, oh, these guys actually like. Well, no, they probably think that we like their stuff because obviously they know about NFL Europe. But they're not like, oh, we. They don't realize that like, and I think like this is where like a cultural thing comes into it, and like, kind of like just like understanding culture is that like. They don't think that Brits can appreciate American football like they appreciate American football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think when they realise that, I think it breaks down a few barriers because it's like the same thing where back in the day, Brits were like, "Oh well, black people don't know about football." Do you know what I mean? Like the who's that one player, George Best. They don't they look at George Best and they go, "Oh well, can never have a black George Best, can you?"
Yeah.
And then along comes Ian Wright. And they're like, oh, wait, no. Oh, no, you can have a black George Best. Do you know what I mean? And then Americans, they might think, oh, well, you can't have a British Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
And then they see American TJ breaking down schemes and like,
Right.
oh, you can have a British Colin Cowherd. And it's really interesting because we love the British accent. That's one thing they always say.
True.
They're always like, oh, your accent is incredible. It's like...
What would you say to a kid who runs up to you, recognizes you on the road, and says, "Look, I want to be, American TJ. I want to be like you when I grow up." What are the top three things that you'll tell him with regards to what you do and him wanting to be like you in say 5 years' time?
First thing I'd say is you don't want to be like me when you grow up. You don't. Be like yourself. There is a version of you that you will... If you could see a version of yourself, the best version of yourself, you would not want to be like me. You would want to be like that person. I say you want to be like me because you've seen a perception, which is fine, but that's the first thing I'd say. Because I've had people DMing me being like, oh, how do you do what you do, whatever. It's like, I don't do what I do because I've seen someone else. I do what I do because I tried something, I realised I had something that had legs, and then I went with it. Do your own thing, and you can create your own version of whatever. Then I would say, consistency. Just be consistent. With consistency, I think comes like really like great things.
That's the biggest thing all the time.
All the time. A lot of people, and it's just human nature. When you want to be something or you want to achieve something, you instantly think about the result rather than the journey on the way there. And I think a lot of people get discouraged. A lot of people make something and they, I've got friends who I'm friends with like a lot of musicians, and I've got friends who like they've been doing music for years, like 10 years, and they're always like, man, no one listens to my music. I'm like, well, you just got to keep making music, man. Because if you stop making music, then no one's definitely going to listen to your music. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same like when I was making like these American football TikToks, it was like 3-4 months where just no one was watching my videos. I was getting maybe 300-400 views on a video, and then one video popped off, and I was like, okay, cool, I might have something here. And I just carried on going. So consistency, and then I think like authenticity. Like I always say this to my girlfriend, especially when it comes to like our fashion brand, because like she's like a lot more intuitive about like the fashion culture stuff like that, and she's always like, oh, I'm scared of people copying us, I'm scared of whatever. I'm like, we're authentic.
You're copying. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Like we're authentic. Like there's an expiry date on plagiarism. If you plagiarize someone's content, if you take someone's content, if you take someone's idea, you can't keep copying them, can you? Your whole base is like based off of
Exactly.
copying. So then when they change course, are you going to change course? You can't, because then everyone's going to know you're copying them. So you have to just start authentic and then keep going like that. I started quite inauthentic. I was like, every week I'm just going to do a list of the top 32 NFL teams, which everyone does. I can find like 1,000 TikTok content creators who are like, here is my list of the top 32 NFL teams on this week based on this week's games. Boring. It's been done. Do something authentic. Find your own thing. My thing was being this eclectic black guy that's like, I'm going to talk about American sports in a way that I love it, but I'm going to have a bit of energy towards it because I didn't really see anyone else doing that. And I now believe, I would not have believed this before, but I now believe that if you find something that's authentic, you're consistent with it, and you just kind of try and be the best version of yourself, you will get somewhere, like 100%. And that's why, like, we were talking earlier about like kind of like numbers and like not being excited about like whatever. I don't, in a weird way, I don't really think I'm special. Like, people are like, oh, you got all these followers. I'm like, yeah, but you could do that as well. Like, there's so many open lanes and open avenues for content. Like, TikTok's only, 3 years old? Instagram's only, 12 years old? A lot of stuff hasn't been done yet. Just find something that hasn't been done, and you could so easily, whatever. And I think, yeah, as long as, like, you're making decent stuff, you're consistent, whatever, I'd say that to a young kid. I'd be like, just carry on doing that. And like Deion Sanders said, don't worry about opinions, because that's going to be the first thing that's going to try and trip you down.
Good example of the musician that you mentioned this earlier on about he's making music, no one ain't really listening to him. You know, he's like, well, what have I got to do to make the change? And then one of them pops off. Guess what? When that one pops off, people are going to start listening to that one that popped off and the stuff that he was doing before.
Exactly.
He's got a
You see what I'm
catalog
saying?
there.
Exactly.
Now he's got a catalog too. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a real good example.
Yeah. I say that to people all the time, like, you know, they want them results, like when it comes to like working out and stuff. So, like one of the guys, he said, I just want I want to get the shape that you got. I said, I've been doing this since school. I said, let me give you an example. I said, you don't plant a seed and it just grows straight away. I said, remember, do me a favor, look to see how long a bamboo takes to grow. And when he looked, he's like, Jesus, I didn't realize it take that long. 5 years before that thing even comes out of the ground. And I said, that's everything in life. I said, if everyone treat life like that, they would get to where they need to get to. But you see the end result and thinking that they got there easily. Nah, we've been training 40 odd years.
Yeah.
You know, and over the years I've been unhappy about certain things. You change it to where you want to get to, but you got to put the time in. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
And discipline.
And you got to know where you are as well. Like, I would love to go to the gym and like get muscly and get strong. Maybe I'd throw a football further. Do you know what I mean? But like, I know that I can't just go to the gym, work out for a month, boom, I'm jacked. It just doesn't work like that unless I'm gonna like cut corners or whatever. And like, I think as you said, it's the same with like everything in life. Like, if things were that easy, everyone would be doing it. But then if everyone was doing it, then
there would be nothing that would be unique.
do you know what I mean? There would be nothing that's unique. And I think that's the most important part. And like, it's just like the tale of life nowadays. We all want to, like, everything's quick. Oh, new train line, it's gonna be quicker. Oh, new car, it's faster. Oh, new computer, it's faster. Everything's fast. Everything needs to be quicker.
Everyone wants to get rich quick.
Do you know what I mean?
Everyone wants to get rich quick, and they want to put the work in to do it. I know. You know, I always remember this thing that Jeremy Sims, a wide receiver in the British American Hall of Fame now, and he said to me one time on one of our podcasts, you know, he was recruiting kids to go to play in British American football, and you know, some of the roadmen that we talk to, and they'll say, "Are there any peas in it?" he said that. He started laughing. Like, he said, "Well, no, you got to work your way. You got to play British American football, and then maybe you can go to the fly east for an hour, go to Germany, France, Spain, play semi-pro over there, and you know what I mean." Take it from there, or go to the US. Some of them ain't listening to it. Now there's NIL in place. You know what I mean? You might want to think about it.
They're willing to go in with the journey. That's one thing. Like, I want to say, like my last job. So I worked at a university campus of football business.
What university was that?
University campus of football business does what it says on it. yeah.
Heard of that?
No one has. No one has. if you go to
He makes that funny.
He was waiting for his face.
it's such a. If you go to Wembley Stadium, you're stood in front of Wembley Stadium. Go left and just walk for maybe like 5 minutes.
Right.
You'll see this building called UCFB, and it's this university that's built on the premise of. Not everyone wants to be a football player. Some people want to do football media. Some people want to go into football sports, football stadium, whatever. Some people want to be journalists. Some people want to go into sports therapy. All this stuff around sports. And they were like, there's not really many avenues to do that unless you go to the University of Sussex, for example, and you do psychotherapy, and then you switch lanes into sports after you've graduated or you want to do a master's. So our CEO, I actually can't remember his name, which is probably a good thing. But his idea was like, right, let's create this football university where people can come to develop careers in football specifically.
Right.
So I worked there, and my job was I was the access and widening participation manager. So my job, the university would come up to me and they'd be like, right, we don't have enough black kids, we don't have enough disabled kids, we don't have enough female students, we don't have enough students with single mothers. All of these underrepresented students in society that probably have a barrier to getting into higher education. It's your job to get them in. Access and widening participation. So my thing has always been helping people from backgrounds where they might have a barrier getting into sports. So one thing, a massive one, was people coming from like areas with high crime rates, high poverty rates, whatever. Obviously, my remit was Black, Asian, ethnic minority students. That's fine. There's Rishi Sunak was our prime minister. He's an ethnic minority. I don't need to go get Rishi Sunak's kids into university because he doesn't face any barriers into getting into higher education. It's purely financial and it's purely environmental as well. So I used to do that with football. So like, I worked with like the Raheem Sterling Foundation to try and like get kids in from that, Kick It Out, like all these kind of like companies. But now with American football, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is something completely new because with higher education, I can get a kid into the university. He has to stay in the university. He has to go and graduate. With American football, as we were saying in the hallway, if you go into an environment that breeds success, you can't fail. If you go into a university, it's pretty easy to fail. I think like 30% of students drop out from university. Not saying that universities are bad, but once you get to university, you're on your own. Like you're on your own. American football or sports is community based. Yeah. You've got a team, you've got a coach, like you've got people checking in on you.
Yeah.
All this type of stuff. University. So when I did that, and I got made redundant in February. What's it called? Optional redundancy. Though I took the option before people start commenting. Oh no. They said, "Who wants to be made redundant?" They said, "Who wants to be made redundant?" I went, "Me, please." So I took that on, and then now that I've kind of started getting into American football, I'm like, this is why I've like tried to reach out to BAFA and things like that, where I'm like, I think there's like a really like serious project that can be done in the UK, where we say to a lot of kids, especially from environments that aren't the greatest, who might be swayed, to be like, you have a lot of people coming into your school saying go to university. You don't want to do geography at university. You have a lot of people coming into your university saying go into the army. You don't want to fight for these guys that are just playing chess. You have a lot of people coming into your school being like, oh, come work for a charity, come to church. They're not got to answer to these things because, as you said, where's the peas? You say to them, hey, do you want to go hit people for fun? And they're like, oh, what, boxing? You're like, no, don't worry. American football. It's a team sport. You're going to have a lot of guys being like, I'll give it a go. I will truly give it a go. Put on a helmet. And the one thing about American football that I've noticed, but that I've been told through so many people playing and even yourself, once you put that helmet on and once you put those pads on, a lot of your personality is stripped away. You can't, if you're a big man off the field, you're not automatically a big man on the field.
No.
You got to prove that.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's a certain type of ego evaluation that a lot of people would really benefit from. To kind of say, right, my personality's been stripped back. I've got to put these pads on. I've got to go out there. And I've got to get hit. And I'm not allowed to do anything about it. Because otherwise my team's going to be penalised for it. And I think that environment would help so many young people, especially ones that come from tough environments and things like that.
Definitely.
And then that's just like that's the story you give to the parents. Then you say to the kids, you go, by the way, go look at how much some of these college kids are earning in America. Say that to a 15, 16-year-old kid.
You will tell the parents that they will be getting an education too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bit. A free education.
Free education. That the parents are going to be like, oh wow. But you also say to the parents, it's going to help them. It's going to improve their personality, whatever.
Sure.
You might have some parents who are like, oh my gosh, like he doesn't behave. I'm always getting calls, phone calls from school. Life skills. Something also to just release energy from as well.
There you go.
And I think American football is such a special sport, and we need to start calling it American football in the UK. We need to call it gridiron. Just call it gridiron because it will remove so much stigma.
Yeah.
American football is like, we've already got football.
Yeah.
Gridiron is like, oh, this is hard. That's just like that word is just like, it's got weight in itself, So as you were saying, like from getting like roadman in there, getting like people from tough backgrounds, even like I used to work with like a lot of like orphans back in my university, trying to get them into higher education, trying to say to them, look, you've had a tough life, man. We might be able to try and help you. American football, this is how you are going to be helped. This is how like you're going to be able to achieve. And I think that's like a really important thing. And I think if we get more kids into American football that way, how many clubs in there is? There's 2 teams in London, right? Blitz and Warriors.
There's Blitz, Warriors. There's
Wembley Stallions as well.
Well.
Yeah. There needs to be at least 10. There needs to be.
Olympians.
Oh, and Olympians, yeah.
Are they still going?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Where do the Olympians play? I've never. Are they East London or?
They're south.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we need at least 10 teams. At least 10 teams. I wish I knew like a Saudi billionaire or something. I'd be like, man, go invest in European American football.
Yes. And that's what it is. This. I don't like saying this because we've invested years into the sport in this country, blah blah. But it's not labelled as a professional sport. It's labelled as an amateur sport in this country, and trying to get sponsorship around that is much more challenging than if it was a professional league, etc. So, but we're still hopeful that we're going to have money somewhere pumping into this to try and help the league, and having conversations like this. Hopefully, people hear what we're saying, and give those potential kids opportunities to take this pathway to better themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even if you don't make it to America, like the German football league, like some serious
opens the doors for other things.
I know. Well, I don't know him personally, but he's like reached out, said he likes my contact. A guy called Glenn Tunga. Don't know if you know. He's a running back currently for the Nordic Storm. Insane story. So one of my closest friends, his name's Aaron. He's from like Leicestershire. Like farm kid. Moved to London when he was 22, I want to say, and we kind of met through like the creative scene in London. He's like a producer. He's actually just dropped an album. Go listen to Neo Sue's new album. But he came to London, creative guy, hates sports, doesn't care for sports at all. I start doing content, and this Glenn Tunga guy, he reaches out. He's like, I'm from London, love your content. If you ever want to come out for a Nordic Storm game, let me know. I'll hook you up with tickets, etc., etc. And then my friend Aaron doesn't like sports in the slightest. Reached out to me, goes, how do you know Glenn Tunga? And I was like, I just know him through whatever. He was like, oh, so we actually worked together at a bar back during COVID. And that's when I realised, I was like, I'm seeing Glenn Tunga like Emmett Smith. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, just pro-American football player. And then I'm forgetting, I'm like, American football isn't like that over here first. Of course he was working at a bar during COVID, or of course like he had like a 9 to 5, do you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the growth that is needed, is to like get these guys out of 9 to 5s and be able to like focus on whatever. And obviously he's at the Nordic Storm now. I can imagine he's being paid pretty handsomely. He was MVP of the European League of Football last season. Surprised he hasn't got any offers even from like the UFL or anything like that.
Or even Canadian League.
Or the Canadian League, yeah. But yeah, he.
Is that a gentleman that reached out to you on
No, it's another running back.
Yeah, another running back. But yeah, European League of Football as well. Like they've got some serious players out there.
They do.
Serious. Yeah.
I mean, it's just another environment for, believe it or not, American players that don't hook on to the NFL. American players that don't hook on to the XFL. There's American players that don't hook on to the Canadian League. It's another space for them to play. To guess what? Get tape to go back.
100%.
Because that's what they were doing when we were balling. And when we were, so we did semi-pro and pro at the same time. Yeah, so we would do NFL Europe, and then thereafter we'd go to GFL and play in the GFL. And there was no EFL at the time; it was GFL. And I would playing up against guys that were in NFL Europe, playing in GFL to get game tape to mix together what they've got in NFL Europe to go back to the NFL. Because some of these players in NFL Europe, they were free agents. They weren't assigned to teams.
That got smaller and smaller over the years, though.
Yeah. The free agents got much smaller over the years. They did, yeah. And then it got fully populated with assigned players from the NFL. Yeah. But that's how it was back in the day, man. And I think it's still the same today. People are using those leagues. Players are using those leagues to get game tape to play in professional leagues in America.
If you guys were commissioners of BAFA, what would be like the first thing that you do just to like change up a bit? Because
the first, that's a really good question. I mean, do you want to take this first, or do you?
No, yeah, that's a good question.
I know exactly what I do. I know exactly. The first thing that I'll do, I speak to my CFO and say, right, I need a budget for marketing. Yeah, I want to market this brand to the best of my ability. I want those fans that are out there in the UK to know what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve, where we want to get to in the next 3 to 5 years. Let's just be realistic around that. Yeah. Again, what's going to underpin this is funding. I get it, right? I understand that. But that'll be the first thing that I do. Get it out in people's faces to say, guess what? We know that the NFL's here. We know that they play 2 or 3 games a season, but there is a British American football community here that have been doing it for over 35 years. Did you know that?
yeah,
No, they don't know that. I guarantee you, Joe Blogs on the street doesn't know that. Right? So that'll be the first thing that I'll do. The second thing that I'll do is I will try and get a franchise over here, a British franchise that plays in the LF. That's what I'll do. Stitch a professional space to a professional league in this country and put a camera on that. Because guess what? That'll be the quickest way to get a camera on real good football
In this country.
in this country. And then I would hope from there, things will materialise. Sponsors will see it. They will start leaning in. Do you know what I mean? And start opening it all up.
I'm surprised that there isn't a British team in the ELF.
I'd like to sit down with the coaches. That's the first thing I would do. Sit down with all the head coaches and find out their problems. Let them speak and listen to them, because I don't think that's something that that they've done. Hear all the downfalls and work from that, because Damien wanted to have a conversation with you about Damien. That was your linebacker that played at the O's, was at the Jets, head coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
David Anderson.
Yeah. Of the problems that they have within their team.
True. Okay.
So
he was a past head coach of the London Blitz.
Okay.
Who he's talking about.
So, it'd be good to hear what they got to say, and then try to move from there of the problems, because that's the only way it's going to get any better. But I don't think they want to listen. I don't think they've taken the time to go to those coaches and listen to what they got to say.
British American football today, there's a lot of silos, okay, of environments that are just driving to doing their own thing, okay. That stems from GB programs down to local Premiership, D2, D3. They're kind of like doing their own thing. Yes, they're all in allegiance to playing in the leagues, but they're kind of like, I feel like they're kind of like on their own. This country needs a premiership level that is, paid. Yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. But I think the way that we're going to get there by having a professional league in this country is having a professional taster, and that taster is a franchise.
Yeah.
In ELF, that's what I think. I think that would start to bring the players that are
talent's already
on
here.
the higher echelons
Yeah.
to warm to that, regardless of where they are
Yeah.
in the UK.
Yeah.
Yes, it will have to be positioned somewhere central in the country, but I think that will draw players, coaches, or the creme de la creme to that.
All those players that struggle to play for their country because they haven't got the funding, that would just they will be all there.
And then from that, I'm hoping a strategy could be put behind that to expand it. Yeah, to expand it. And I've got to be clear with this as well. Not everyone wants to play pro football. There's people that want to play community football.
Yeah.
They want to play D2. They want to play D3. Keep what's here now.
Yeah. Just
but
building it.
But just build on it. So we've got this.
You can go there if you wanted
top
to.
level pro club as such. We've got to start small. Do you know what I mean? And then build out from there. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's...
What do you think, actually?
Well, I asked you guys because I was like, you're the experts. But if it was me, I think probably pretty much a merge. Because I think what you're saying is spot on. Speak to the coaches because you need to get some type of information from some people, and it's always going to be the case. There's going to be coaches who are like, finally, someone's listening to me.
Yeah.
But then also, it's marketing. If you like, realistically, the people that you need eyes on this are going to be young people, and in order to get young people, you need to market to them. You need to make it cool. You need to make it seem like something that they want to go to. I watched back the Baffa Bowl last year. I want to go to the Baffa Bowl this year, but I watched it back last year, and I was like, it's a shame the stadium ain't sold out. Do you know what I mean? And it's not a massive stadium. It's 3,000-4,000 seats. You give me a bit of money, I'll get you 3,000-4,000 people. Do you know what I mean? I'll get you 3,000-4,000 people. And also, I think they probably do already, whatever, but I'd get Baffa to speak to Bucks, and I'd be like, right, Bucks, you've got an incredible USP, whereas you don't need a market because you've got thousands of students at these universities anyway. Why are these university students not going to your games? Why do they not feel proud to go to these university games? Like the Bristol Aztecs, I know they're massive. They're playing in the CFL. Obviously, you've got the London Warriors, London Blitz. I've been watching American football since I was 10 years old. I only came across Baffa last summer.
Wow.
Really. I knew about it because of the Farnham Knights, but like, I just thought it was kind of like grassroots football. Yeah. I didn't realise how big it was. I didn't realise how much like, not money in a player sense, but like how much money is actually invested into there. Because one thing I've always thought is, it can't be that sustainable having an American football team in the UK. Helmets are expensive. It's like £300-400 a pop.
It's a lot of money to run a team year on year.
Do you know what I mean?
It is. And that's part of the problem because it's classed as a community sport, an amateur sport. So getting funding for that can be challenging.
Yeah, of course. And funding's always going to be the issue.
But you do, trust me, don't ever get this twisted. You do have the teams in this country that can compete at semi-pro level. You can. I will call them out. The Titans, the Warriors, the Aztecs. They can compete with having a percentage of US players on their rosters too.
Yeah. The Aztecs just beat up Amsterdam last weekend. I actually felt very sorry for Amsterdam. He was like, we had to get the coach all the way here. It took us a lot of hours. And I was like, you've just come all the way to Bristol I think they beat him like 50-4 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. But that's what I was like. And the Aztecs aren't even the best team in Baffa. The Warriors, in my opinion, are the best team in Baffa. The Warriors are very interesting, like really, really interesting, because they've had so many like talents come through, that type of thing. And I think it'd be really cool if, let's say, the ELF was to come to Britain and they were like, right, nominate one team. I think it'd be the Warriors. However, I have a feeling that ELF would probably lean more towards starting a team from scratch, like the Nordic Storm did, or like the Madrid Bravos from Spain, where these teams, because Spain had teams that they could have sent to the ELF, like I think it's the Badalona Drax, which are like kind of like an offshoot of like the Barcelona Dragons, and then like all that type of stuff. But they were like, no, we've got to make a new team, Madrid Bravos, etc., etc. It would. I have a feeling that a British ELF team is coming.
I do too.
I think so.
I do.
Hopefully it's next year, and hopefully when they do that, they're like, right, let's go all in. Because you see NFL Europe, like you see NFL UK, sorry, sells out every. I couldn't get tickets this year to any games. Sells out quickly. Why don't you say, right, we're gonna have before the NFL UK game, let's say it's Packers versus Vikings.
I know exactly where he's going to go with this.
Before Packers versus Vikings, you do Baffa Bowl because NFL Europe's in October, right?
Yeah.
So you do Baffa Bowl. You let people see what British American football looks like, and then you go into that. And you say to people, you go, right, if you turn up for the Baffa Bowl game, we'll chop £20 off your ticket. Why doesn't NFL do that?
Those NFL games that are hosted in Wembley and Tottenham, etc. When you look at the audience, right? So let's just say the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing Green Bay. It's not just Green Bay and Jacksonville Jaguar fans.
No, of course not.
It's 32 teams
of
fans, NFL fans that are going to that game, and they're not just coming from the US.
Yeah,
they're coming from Europe.
Yeah,
they're coming from here, and they're coming from the US. Okay, so that tells you straight away that there's a European audience, right?
Yeah.
You know, so but it's not. Well, we're saying this. It's been done. The former CEO of BAFA, he was in conversations with the NFL about this. Unfortunately, I mean, so he's moved on as a new CEO now. It hasn't happened, so I can only assume conversations have broken down. But what you're talking about has been spoken about.
Yeah.
Has been.
And it needs to happen.
Of course.
It really needs to happen. There is those British fans, they swarm to NFL UK because they want that product.
What would that do for the British game if you had the Britball final as a warm-up game prior to the NFL game?
Imagine you just had one or two of the NFL players on the field while that game was happening. The social media content. Imagine you see Aaron Rodgers cheering on the best QB in BAFA,
or commenting or giving commentary on the game.
Yeah,
just 2 or 3 minutes of commentary. Someone asking, well, what's your feedback here?
Yeah. If this is what I find crazy about it, if you're one of the people that hosts Wembley, if you're one of the people that host Tottenham, because there's British people that are obviously having conversations with the NFL when it comes to this. If you're one of those people, you need to sit there and you need to be like, I just feel like that connection hasn't been made. Is the CEO of NFL UK connected with the CEO of BAFA? I don't know.
What does the NFL get
Probably
out of
not.
it? This is a question. What does the NFL get out of it?
They
what BAFA will get out of it. What does the NFL get out of it?
That's what it is.
Investment. NFL, you can say to the NFL, you'll be like, right, if you help us in investing in our sport, we'll give you a 20% stake. We'll give you a 15% stake. So in 10 years, let's say the sport does blow up, you get a piece of the pie, and a much bigger piece of the pie. And you don't even need to give us funding per se. You just need to give us your logo, your sign off. Because they've already got the flag championships in the UK. The NFL is already running flag in the UK.
Yeah.
Go talk to BAFA. Please go talk to BAFA. If you're BAFA, go talk to NFL UK. There's people. There's got to be people in BAFA that know people at the NFL. It's got to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they do.
And do that. And it's the same with Germany. It's the same with Italy. It's the same with Spain. It's the same with France. This sport is literally one good marketer, one marketing officer at NFL being like, guys, I've had a brainwave. One of those away from exploding,
it blowing up,
and in a way that we haven't seen before. Europeans aren't exposed to American football enough. And do you know what the Saudis have done with Live Golf and what the Saudis have done with Saudi Pro League? I think it will either be basketball or American football. I think one of these Saudi marketing or investors,
We got to get their eyes over him.
they're going to be like, the NFL is huge.
Yeah.
We've already done it with golf, where we try to rival the PGA with Live Golf. Let's try and rival the NFL, and let's try and pour money into or the NBA. I think they'd be more inclined to do the NBA first, because obviously you got EuroLeague. EuroLeague is massive already with basketball.
That's much more established.
Yeah. And obviously, like, you look at the NFL, like, you got Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The guys are MVPs, man.
Do you know what I mean? Like, these are European players. So like,
exactly.
But I think, you know, there's going to be a lot of, and I think as well, Britain needs a quarterback. Britain needs a quarterback.
Britain needs a team.
Yeah.
GB needs a team.
Who? Right. There's one QB that's coming from here, isn't there?
You know, we were talking about this the other day actually with with Anna Jackie and Yaz. So these girls they play American football, pro American football in the States, and they play for the WFA. And I can't remember where I'm going with this, but I remember we were talking about women in sports, etc. before, and women's American football today is the most successful pillar of American football in this country today. Simply because they got to the finals in 2022 against the US, they only losing to the US, and then they lost the European finals last year. They're ranked 2 in the world.
Wow.
British American football contact has been going for at least 35 years. And we haven't even been on the world stage, much less. There is no such thing as a world stage. We've been in the Euros. I think we've got close. I think we've won the Euros once back in 89 or 90, but since then we haven't won it since. So they are the most successful pillar of American football in this country.
Women, that's another thing that's going to explode as well, women's American football. With the WFA, obviously in the US, but flag as well. I think flag's going to...
Flag's going to really, really catch a lot of momentum right now. And that's where we can clearly see where BAFA have put their financial support into right now. Purely because of the Olympics.
Makes so much logistical sense as well. With flag football, completely different risk assessment.
Yeah.
Don't have to pay for pads. Don't have to pay for helmets. It's like, it's like association football. Pick up a football, put down some goalposts, boom, go play.
Plus you've got an NFL team now that's going to be going into the Olympics.
Yeah.
Again, that just takes it to another level.
Yeah. It's going to be insane.
American TJ, we could rap for another clean 2-3 hours without having another meal. But we're going to have to press pause for now. We're going to have to say thank you for coming on. We're chopping up with us at Ballaz In The Middle on the sofas at No Stars. We hope to see you again soon.
Of course.
But yeah, it's been real. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it, man.
Keep up that good work, man. And keep up that energy, yeah?
Appreciate it, guys. Yes. Thank you. It's been a... Doesn't even feel like it's been that long. What time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.